What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have a special delivery from Old Forester Distilling Company themselves. This right here is a wonderful sample. I mean, look at this packaging, folks. This right here is a wonderful sample of the 117 series Warehouse I. This just released this month. Let's get into this. 95 proof, release date 12/5 of 24, and I am excited to try this out. And during our Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we are going to put it up against our Old Forester single barrel 100 proof, 95 proof. It's close enough, so let's see how this compares to this bottle right here. But first, let's dive into this with price, taste, and drinkability. I'm gonna start with half so we can save some for our Bourbon Bomb of the Week. Everybody knows before we get started, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Ooh, I actually like that a lot. So December 5th, when this bottle was released, was actually the 91st anniversary of Repeal Day, which obviously ended Prohibition. So Old Forester wanted to celebrate that by putting out their 117 series Warehouse I, which is coming in at 11 years old, actually. Now, obviously, everything in this bottle is coming out of Warehouse I, which I think is a cool concept that other distilleries should pick up on. I know Wild Turkey does this with like Camp Nelson and Camp Tyrone, but knowing everything is coming from Warehouse I means if I do like this profile, I can start to hunt Warehouse I going forward. Obviously, everything in Warehouse I was heat cycled since 2013. I say obviously like you know that. I just found that out myself. I don't know if that changes the flavor profile compared to their other warehouses because I haven't tried anything from other warehouses. But let's get into this. We start with drinkability. 95 proof. How much ethanol kick is there? I mean, nothing crazy on this at all, as you would expect, right? First of all, Old Forester always seems to drink under its proof for me, whether it's their 115 proofs or their 100 proofs or their cask strength or barrel strength stuff for their single barrels. I gotta tell you, 95 proof is never anything too harsh for me, but for me, this one definitely drinks more under its proof than a lot of other maybe smaller distilleries or craft distilleries are putting out at 95 proof. So Old Forester is always gonna get a good score when it comes to drinkability. I gotta say, it's a 7.0 if it's right at its proof. Let's take one more sip. We can't drink too much though. Let's go like an 8.25. I think it's above an 8 easily. I don't think it's quite there in the 9s yet, just because, again, it's only 95 proof, so it's easier to drop from a 120 to like a 110 than it is for like a 95 to be an 85 sipper. That being said, Old Forester, across their whole catalog, always sip super easy. When people ask me for like an easy sipper, I always try and recommend Old Forester because I do think that they do a very good job at removing that ethanol flavor and replacing it with actual flavors from the whiskey. So an 8.25 is where we're going to put this. And up next, we obviously get a taste on this. And I think that's where this bottle truly shines, but we're going to see how much it shines in our Bourbon Bomb of the Week against a bottle that I absolutely love. And again, I kind of like the 100 proofs better than a lot of the barrel strengths, but I digress when it comes to the single barrels. They do give you tasting notes on this, which says juicy apricot and orchard fruit lead the palate with butterscotch, clove, and nutmeg, offering a sweet and spicy profile. A white pepper adds a bit of texture. I don't disagree. There is a peppery note on this, which does add some like depth and some character, which I really like, but the sweetness on the front of this is what I love about this glass. Everybody knows I love a sweet whiskey. Apricot, maybe. We still have to do a video where we just eat some of these things that they tell us we're supposed to be tasting. I think I had an apricot once a very long time ago, specifically to find out what an apricot tastes like. But there is like a citrusy, like a mangoey flavor on the front of this. You definitely get a lot of that fruity sweetness on the front of this. There is like a herbal note to this, a little bit, like a hint of an herbal spicy note in the middle, which I truly love. And then the end with that 11 years gives it like just enough of an oak presence to not be overwhelming in the glass, and I always love that. Let's talk about this a little bit more, and then we'll give you a score when it comes to taste. Here's what I will say, and this is why it interests me that this is coming specifically from Warehouse I. I think this is a little bit off profile for what I'm used to with Old Forester. I don't know if I did this blind, if I would be able to pick up the fact that it's Old Forester. Now, I can't always do that, right? But if you gave me 10 bottles and said one of these is Old Forester, I think I could maybe pick out which one's Old Forester, knowing that one of them is. I can go through and be like, okay, that's Old Forester. And like a double blind, I don't think I'd be able to specifically call it. This one, though, I don't think I'd be able to pick out as Old Forester. If you gave me 5 bottles and said 4 of them were Old Forester and all 5 were actually Old Forester, this is the one that I would say is an Old Forester. That being said, I still think it's delicious, which is why I love the concept of a specific warehouse, because now I know maybe Warehouse I is the one that I should be looking for if they start to do single barrels specifically from Warehouse I. This one is Warehouse G, by the way, the one that we're going to put it up against. That being said, when it comes to taste, I'm going mid 8s on this again. I think it's like an 8.42. I think it's a very solid glass of whiskey. I think it could easily be a daily sipper. I think it fits perfectly into the Whiskey Row series, especially when we talk about the price on this, but an 8.42 is where we're going to put it when it comes to taste. And of course, up next, we get into price on this, and this is where I got a little bit thrown off originally. This bottle is $64.99, but it's being released in 375 milliliters. If you know anything about whiskey, they're usually released in 750 milliliters, which means this is a half bottle, which means that $65 price tag is really a $130 price tag, which makes a lot more sense for an 11-year-old limited release coming out of Old Forester. Let's finish this up and then we'll give you a score when it comes to price. So I don't love the price at $130. I don't think it's overpriced at $130 either. When it comes to limited release whiskey, a lot of prices are going up. I mean, they're pushing 200s for some 13 or 15-year-old whiskey. So where they're at 11 years, they say $10 per year, so that's $110, right? Then we have the limited release factor, which means we're going to add a little bit to that. Then we have the idea that this is a single warehouse. I love that concept, so that's going to add a little bit of value as well. And it's their special release 117 series, 91st repeal day, all of that thrown in. 130 isn't out of the question. I think that there are people that would charge more for this, but that being said, I don't love it. Let's give it like a 7.92 when it comes to the price on this. I definitely think they could have charged more and it would have made me more upset, but 130 doesn't seem out of this world. Listen, while I add these scores up, let's send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and compare it to our Warehouse G single barrel 100 proof. I was originally going to do this blind, but I kind of want to know which one's which, so let's pour this up not blind. We don't need a lot. I've already drank plenty of this tonight, so let's get into this glass over here. Cheers, y'all. I'll tell you the details once more on this. That's still so good. So again, this is Warehouse G Floor 4. This is coming in at 50% alcohol, which is 100 proof. And again, this is warehouse package. I would love to do a single barrel pick over at Old Forester. And if I ever get to, I think I would do a 100 proofer rather than a barrel strength, just because I like that a little bit more. This for me is a little bit more spicy than sweet. And I'm going to compare it to something in just a minute. I want to take one more sip before I do that. So when Wild Turkey put out the 8-year 70th anniversary edition for Jimmy Russell, the difference in that compared to the Wild Turkey 101 was absolutely crazy, and it's very similar to what I'm getting here. This is giving me so much more sweetness, which is what I love. That fruit forward note definitely stands out on this. While this is still a fantastic glass of whiskey, nobody's denying that, it's not giving me the same characteristics that this one is giving me, and I like these characteristics better. Still a fantastic glass of whiskey, just more of that spiciness profile rather than the sweetness profile. You get a little bit on here, and then obviously this is just lacking a little bit when it comes to the age. I think the age on this is really allowing those fruit notes to come forward just a little bit more. They're a little bit more predominant, but I do love that about this glass compared to this glass, and that's the only real knock I have on this glass, is it's just not sweet enough, especially coming after this glass. I also feel like I get like an appley note on this. Again, it just feels like if you were drinking the same two glasses, but one was barrel strength and one was 90 proof. But they're doing it at 95 proof here. Barrel strength's going to give you so much more of that flavor profile, and that's giving me more of the flavor profile than this glass is doing, quite frankly, at 5 proof points difference. And this is a single barrel, so this is the best of the best. This is still a fantastic glass of whiskey. I can't reiterate that enough. But this glass is just so much better when it comes to what it's offering than this glass, and I can't really explain why. Not to mention, this is definitely confirming my beliefs when it comes to drinkability. Again, this is 5 proof points difference, but I feel like it drinks 10 proof points higher. That being said, I don't think it drinks at 100 proof, because I already told you Old Forester across the line drinks under its proof. But it reiterates that idea that this is maybe like sipping like an 80, 85 proof, where this is sipping like a 95 proof. And that's 5 proof points lower, where this is 10 proof points. It's just so much better, I think, all around. So much more depth, so much more complexity. Everything about this glass seems so much more well-rounded. But listen, let's send it back over and find out where this scored. Listen, this bottle came in at an 8.20, and if we didn't have a bunch of stuff from 2023 that we tried in 2024, this would be in our top 10 of 2024. I mean, technically, for 2024 releases, this would be in our top 10. If I had more of it, I would add it to my 2024 Whiskey of the Year blind that I'm going to do here soon, but I don't have any more of it, at least not right now. Maybe I'll reach out and see if I can get some more. Listen, an 8.20 is a fantastic spot for this, and I love the concept that they're doing with 375 milliliters for special releases like this. More whiskey in more people's hands is not a bad thing. I have more whiskey on my shelf than I can ever consume, so the fact that I can get a smaller amount of this and pay a little bit less makes me happy. I don't know what you think about that, though. But listen, that's where I'm going to leave you for today. Shout out to Forrester for getting this in my hands. I really appreciate you for that. Make sure you click that like and subscribe button if you like this type of content. Check out our Instagram page, that link in the description below. Come chat with us 24/7 on Discord, that link in the description below. And last but not least, check out our Patreon page, that link in the description below as well. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay trying stuff from different warehouses to see which one you like the best. Cheers, y'all.